AI-generated images and videos are taking over the internet, and I don't think people realize how easy it is to build apps that use this technology. And there are people making all the way up to 150K per month using these APIs. And in this video, we're going to talk about how you, without any coding experience, can actually build apps and how you can actually test and compare all of these images and video models to best create an experience that uses this AI technology in a novel way. Let's just dive straight into the video.
Okay, so this is going to be a real-time image editing platform that you can make with Replicate. So let's generate an image of a unicorn.
Oh wow, the loading. Oh
Let's
wow.
make this a 90s character style. Let's give this unicorn a rainbow mane. And let's give it two horns.
This is awesome.
I'm going to show you some more examples of how you can sort of play around with some of the parameters that are exposed. But this is just like a really simple app that one of our staff members just vibe coded in a couple of hours. We used OpenAI real-time API. That's what gets us to just like have a natural conversation with the app and Flux Context Max. So that's doing the image editing. The image creation is Flux Schnell, also on Replicate. Um, and yeah, all created in Cursor. We just pop in the Replicate API docs, and there you go.
That's amazing. I love it.
All right, so this is the explore page of Replicate. I love how you described it, Riley. It's just like kind of like an app store for all of the latest AI models where you can just see what's the latest. You can test them super quickly. You can fine tune models. You can put up your own models, which is something that not a lot of people know about. We provision GPUs for your models, so you don't have to worry about any of the backend infrastructure. But if you want to use one of the latest like state of the art models, we've have quite a few of them featured here. So, like for instance, ByteDance just came out with video and image models. We have Kling, we have Google, we have VO3, which has been super huge. Ideogram, Black Forest Labs, Flux models. These are all just like our featured main ones right now. And then we have official models. So we even have like your OpenAI models. Like we have one, we have GPT 4.1, GPT 4.0.
Yeah.
Like all of these, you can sort of just access all of these state-of-the-art models with one singular API key in. I think that's like the biggest draw of Replicate is
Yes.
you don't have to like go to OpenAI, you don't have to go to Anthropic and test them all out. You can just stay here and sort of plug and play with all of them.
Yeah, and for those of you who are watching who are completely untechnical, what's important to understand is like all of these have an input and an output. These are AI models that you can plug into any workflow that you want. So whether you want to build an app and sell it commercially, right here you can see that this has a text prompt. And so this is the example prompt for this one looks like the sun slowly between tall buildings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it allows you to just type in a prompt and you get this video. And if you can create an app or come up with some interface, as he showed previously with the voice input, right? And interfaces are incredibly important, whether you're on web or mobile. You can create these interfaces that make using this technology more fun, more useful. You can give them access to AI agents who can actually go out and use these. That's kind of what he's showing you right now is there's inputs and there's outputs, and these different models yield different inputs, different outputs for different costs. And so these are all decisions you have to make when designing a creative product. And yeah, I just wanted to provide a little bit of context there.
So this is what we call model page. When you click onto a model, you can see all the different parameters. So like for instance, this is a video model. We have prompt, we have starting image if you wanted to pass in like a keyframe that your video starts from and then creates the image from there. Duration, resolution, aspect ratio. You can just sort of plug and play with all of these and then get different outputs. As for pricing, we are super transparent about pricing and we clearly list what prices look like. So for instance, this ByteDance model is 3 cents per second of output video. And these are for different resolutions as well. So 480p versus 1080p are different prices. So yeah, we have all the information here just for like you to test out whatever works for you, whatever works for your use case. And you can just sort of in our search. For instance, you don't even have to know the type of model that you're looking for. Like I'm looking for a video model. I don't know it's called Seed Dance One, for instance, or maybe I'm looking to edit images, but I don't know what these models are called. You can literally just type in your use case. So let me do just like edit image, and we've created collections for you to just sort of browse through and curated a bunch of these models that you can just see like what works for your use case. So we have some recommendations right now. Flux Context and Flux Context Pro and Flux Context Max are really big for image editing, as well as Ideogram 3 is really good for text and typography. Stylistic changes, we have a few here, but you can just sort of go through this kind of app store of models and see what works for your use case.
Quick break to tell you about the app that vibe codes mobile apps in just seconds. We've been working on this app for the past 4 months straight. All you need is an idea. You just type your app idea and it will build a native mobile app right on your phone. It connects with Cursor or any other IDE. You can create games, AI-powered productivity apps, and we even have an N8N integration that lets you build apps powered by AI agents. You can download the app at vibecodeapp.com or use the link in the description. Because obviously right now, there's only so much information you can get navigating through these model pages. I think it's very useful to see the inputs, the outputs. It's a great place to get started. But like, if you're, let's say you're a content creator, and maybe you're not even trying to build an app, maybe you're trying to create the best thumbnails and you're trying to find what technology makes the best thumbnails. The way that I do it is I go into Playground and you can add models to your Playground and you can actually test them side by side. And they show up in the grid and you can see which model created what. So you can kind of have this like A/B testing of like what models are performing
Totally.
best for whatever it is that you want to create.
Yeah, this is Playground. So this is basically your space to test out all of the latest state of the art models and see like, what works well for certain use cases and what doesn't, and just like side by side compare things. So for instance, with video models, like a big thing people want to test is physics. Like, is a video model good at simulating an Olympic gymnast diving off a diving board or flipping off of a balance beam? So I just wanted to go ahead and test like, is Kling better? Is VO3 better? Is ByteDance's new model better? Like what is doing well for physics? And you can just see like all the different outputs. I can click one and see that this used V2.1 master from Kling, and this happened to be like the best at the physics for me. But it's just like the best way to test. Like you can see we have all the different models you can put into your own version of Playground. So I've loaded all of these ones up here for testing. And yeah, and even here, I was just testing out different outputs from this is Google's Imagen 3 model for image. We have Black Forest Labs, Flux Pro, Imagen 3 again, and Flux Dev. So just like seeing, just like super quickly, like what are the best
And
models here.
and what's cool and what I've noticed that, and I've talked to a lot of people who've created rappers who make millions of dollars per year. A lot of the time they're actually chaining these together. They find these subtle workflows. That's kind of their edge. If they find some specific use case that they're good at generating, and then they find like a specific workflow. So oftentimes the output of one model can be the input into the next model. So for example, if you were to just download, if you just press download on that squirrel image, and you want to just toss that into the editor in the like Flux context, because you generated that on image gen from Google, right? You could upload that as the input image of another one, and then you can edit that. And so that's kind of the flow I get into. It's just like you could say, make the squirrel.
I'll just say like get rid of the flowers in the background for Flux Context Max. This is our image editing model.
And what's
So
cool is
you're
you can run multiple of these at a time. Like you don't have to wait for it to finish. Like a lot of like I use some other tools. Like you said, get rid of the flowers. You can say make his hair green. You can constantly change the prompt. I don't think people like creating YouTube thumbnails. They're kind of annoying to create. And for the first time, we're actually getting these affordable image editing models like Flux Context. It's almost like having Photoshop in an AI model. It can like locate the
yeah.
part of the video or the image that you want to edit. It can
You can see
change
I
the
was, like,
text.
testing I was just, like, testing Ideogram is, like, huge for creating ads or, like, ad copy and just, like, really good with text. And just I was creating, like, UGC ads, for instance. Like, you could toss this into a video model and create a UGC ad that you can post on TikTok or whatever short form content platform you want to.
Also, one thing that um, I don't think you touched on that I think is just like quite important is the recent predictions. This will actually help you troubleshoot a lot. So, like if you're using it within an app, right, you can actually see all of your recent ones that go through. And if you click on, I think if you just click on ID, you can see, like you can see here. I just did a podcast with Matt Wolf, and I was testing with the
I
different image models, and we were testing upscalers. This one is like really subtle, but it's pretty fun to look back and you can actually see,
You can
uh,
even click on that little, like, document with the magnifying glass to get, like, an at glance look. It's right
right.
next to the left of the ID. Yeah, there
Oh,
you go.
oh, lovely.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and you can see this one failed, and that could be for, this looks like it was an error in my vibe coding abilities. But it's good to be able to see that, right? Because sometimes when you're vibe coding an app, you don't know if the error happened on like communicating with Replicate, or if the error is just the app not displaying the image back into your app. And so it's always good to kind of be able to um, kind of know what's wrong, because then you can just tell the AI,
Yeah.
like, it's showing up, it's succeeding, it's not an API issue, you're just not displaying it correctly, and it'll usually fix the problem.
Yeah,
And
there you
so
go.
yeah. And so what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna go to, Playground. So if I type in Playground, I don't know if that's the easiest way to find it, that's just how I do it. We can actually just so obviously, yeah, we can select a model. I'm gonna use Flux Context Pro, and, like, I wanna be able to upload an image. Let's find an image of myself. Hopefully, I find one here pretty quickly somewhere. I'll just go to Twitter. I'll get my profile picture, save this image.
Yeah, I always do the same exact thing when
Yeah,
testing.
I just don't know where it is. Okay, so we can just, I believe we can just drag an image in right here. So we can just drag this image right there. So now we have this input image. Please make this a YouTube thumbnail of this person. I don't know if this prompt is the best, with text that says one, or let's go, yeah, $1 million rapper. And then
Nice,
we
nice.
can change the aspect ratio, because aspect ratio of a YouTube thumbnail is 16:9. So you don't, even though this is a square input, it should change it to 16:9. And obviously, there's some other things that you can edit. We don't need to dive too far in detail there, but they're worth checking out. Some models have more parameters than others, but once we find just like an API that we like if we like this result, okay, $1 million rapper, for whatever reason, it, um, or we can say, in the style of anime, um, I don't know, this is probably a bad prompt. Um, but the point is, what we can do, oh, okay,
No, it's not bad. Yeah.
not bad, not bad. And then, what we can do here, um,
Oh, I like the one yeah, that one's
oh,
that one's
$1 million
good.
rapper. That's actually like legit not a bad
That is
thumbnail.
legit.
I don't
That is
think it would.
really good.
Okay, so we like this, right? We like this. All we need to do is just copy this, right? All we need to do is copy this. And we're going to get, I know that HTTP usually works the best because this is kind of like more universal. Actually, I'm very curious what your take is on this. So, like, you've probably seen a lot of people vibe code or even just code with these workflows. Do most people start off with kind of a front end mock-up and then adding the AI? Or do you think, what do you think is better?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like it might depend on your expertise levels. So I would say, like, if you're just starting off, putting the API straight into your prompt is gonna work way better than you expect anyways. Like you're able to create a very high functioning app just within one or two prompts. Just the first prompt, you get it working, and then maybe you just have to kind of massage the UI a little bit. Maybe I want it to be dark mode, or maybe I want the image input to be front and center, and I want the prompt box to be here. But usually it just takes like three prompts. But if you have like a really good idea of the UI and you like, you're a designer, or maybe even just like you could sketch it up on a post-it note and send that as part of your prompt as well, that works pretty well. It just depends on like how comfortable you feel with like design. But even if you're just a beginner, just the prompt works wonders.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a fun hypothetical question for you. Let's say I'm completely untechnical. I'm watching this video right now. Maybe I'm don't like my job. I feel like I'm not able to use AI and I want to use AI, right? And I want to create a wrapper and I want to create an app. Let's say I have like, let's say 2 weeks and maybe I have some spare time and I can learn, I can spend 10 total hours learning some skill to build an AI wrapper that actually makes money. Like, how would you start to take the most like efficient path to creating an AI wrapper that gets attention and maybe a few customers?
I'm gonna be so honest with you. Now with vibe coding tools, the number one skill I think you should be learning is marketing, like how to market and catch attention. Again, because vibe coding has made it so easy to make an app. Like honestly, there's like no excuse. Like you should just like toss in a replicate API and then make an app. And it's so easy. Like really anyone can do it. And so now it's kind of like you get to expand more, like, question-wise, like, now you get to sort of think about, like, what kind of UIs or design choices do I wanna make for my users? Like, you get to sort of be more creative now. Like, I think the leverage has shifted to creatives and, like, people who are really thinking about design thinking or, how users experience platforms or marketing. Like, how can I best capture the user's attention and their problems and how can I create short form content that works really well? We're seeing like crazy, Roy Lee, for instance, he's taking over mostly because of the marketing aspect, and I think it makes everything more creative in a sense. Like you get to really flex your creative muscles now versus before. You really had to learn these technical skills that didn't really like get your juices flowing like it does now. So I would totally say marketing or like design or just like anything that really resonates with the user the most.
Hmm. And first of all, I really think marketing is incredibly important. Um, and like I've actually talked a lot about that on my channel. One thing I haven't talked about is actually design. Like it's very obviously I want to say I'm good at design, right? I like good design, I think. But like to me it's pretty unclear on how to even learn design. Like what really well-designed apps have you seen created recently and like how can I actually go and like learn those? Like is it just finding a bunch of examples of really good apps and trying to copy them? Like what do you think?
Honestly, I think that's a great starting point. Just like think about the apps that you use every day. So you use your iPhone, amazingly designed product, an iPhone. Duolingo, another great example of just like a typical language learning app that has been really fine tuned for good design. Siri, Cursor, another like tool that was forked from VS Code, which already has great design. And so it's now more about like how is the user going to interact with the AI interface. I think like starting from things that have already been built, you don't have to reinvent the wheel at all. I think that's a great starting point, and just talking to users, seeing how people use your app, it's just a great it's fun. Like, it's fun, and it's the best way because that's ultimately, like, you're putting a product in people's hands, and so you wanna know how it's working. In the meantime, I could totally show you, like, one of my V0 examples of using the exact same API.
Go ahead and do that. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
So I personally like to use V0 just because and literally I'm doing the same exact thing that you're doing. So I wanted to create a modern web app for an image editing platform. And I just said using the replicate API documentation of this image editing API. And this is exactly the Flux Context Pro API that Riley was using. State of the art image editing right now. I just copied and pasted the docs that you would see just right. If you go into we have our form, this is like what you first see. And then I just hit Node.js because all of your web apps are going to be in JavaScript or Node.js. And I just copy and paste this code snippet right here, which is the actual API run. And then I just pass it over to V0. Oh, not sure if you saw the docs, but this is pretty much what you would copy and paste from
Oh,
the
amazing.
from
Amazing.
from Replicate. Yeah. Um, I like V0 because it automatically will ask for your token and store it, so you can actually like run the app in house. But you can see like you can also track like all the different versions that you started off with. So this was like the first version that came up with just this prompt was this, and you can see like it hits all of the parameters that are included in the Flux Context API. So we have image upload. This is where you type in your prompt. You can change the aspect ratio. You can change the output format, and then safety tolerance is something that will provision against harmful outputs or harmful inputs for the prompt. But this is what you get one shot, which is already amazing. So like literally the rest of my chat history is just fixing the UI and making sure it's like something that so you can see like this is the rest of my chat history. It asked for my replicate API token and it just added it right here. So now it's like stored in this app and I can run it natively. You can see my next iteration. I said I want the UI to be like this, and I gave it a sample image. I'm not sure. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Yeah,
Amazing.
so I gave it a sample image of just like a quick mock-up of this is the image, the prompt box is underneath it, and I wanted to see my like edit history as a series of thumbnails underneath. And this automatically works. So we can go to version 2. And in version 2, we have it exactly like how I set up. So we have like our image input, we could type in whatever. So for instance, I can type in or I can put in the let's do the ad.png. So this is one of the ads that I created on Replicate, and we can transform this. We could say change the text, reveal your radiance to, let's say, like cleanse your soul. And we'll just go ahead and hit generate and see what happens. So again, it's hitting the Flux Context API that's on Replicate. So we're using Replicate's API here. And you can see
Nice.
that it just changes your text right there for you. And you can see that we have our image history that's going to be stored in a series. It's exactly how I sketched out my image.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And one thing that I've noticed people do on these like on apps is they like change the editing animation. I don't know. You want to try and make a change on this one and say like, oh, I don't know if you can. Oh, what's cool about V0 is you can actually like fork these. So if you want to go off in different directions, you can hit the fork button up there at the top, and you could say like, change the editing animation, and you can just find ways that makes the experience just better, kind of,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Yeah. You can see in my like final version. So let's see if I could go back to my previous versions. My final version ended up being this after I just like massaged out everything. I was like, I wanted a dark UI. I wanted the UI to be a bit more clean and modern. Like pretty much was just like massaging out the best UI, and it only took 4 prompts. But yeah, you can fork this. You can change like, I want a different editing animation. All of that. So I think it's a great platform to sort of test out these replicate APIs with.
What are you seeing as the most like popular APIs right now?
This again is the explore page. So we've curated the models that we think we see on Twitter a lot are the biggest ones that we just like put up really big right here, and like people really want to use them. So like again, VO3 is super super huge. This is what people really are just like this is like first grab. Like I want to use an image generation model. We have Imagen 4 from Google, or image editing. We have Flux Context is another big one. Um, Next, we have the official models. These are always on models or warm models, which basically means we keep the GPU associated with each of these models on at all times, which means for you that you're going to get super, super fast results, which is what users like to see, obviously. So we have our open AIs, we have Kling for video, We have ByteDance's new video model, which a lot of people are talking about. Chatterbox is a good text to speech model that a lot of people are starting to use. Anthropic, you can totally just like browse all of the official models that we have, and we have them a bunch right here that you can just sort of pick and test. And then what I would say is best for intros, like just getting started. You wouldn't know what the names of these models are, but you come into the platform knowing what your use case is. So, like, generate images, generate video, edit images, upscale images. We've curated all of these APIs here just for your particular use case. Use LLMs like we have OpenAI, Anthropic, DeepSeek. Generate speech, transcribe speech. You can even caption videos. So I know a lot of people have started to use this for like TikTok short form content. We have video captioning here. So you can just come in and like, let's say you want to edit images, just click one of these collections. We have like our recommendations here. So we have like a little blurb about what you can sort of do. So you can change the style of your images, you can add text, keep specific parts of an image while keeping its structure. And then we, sort of go through our recommendations. And then here we have all of the models that we suggest you might want to use. Like these are our top 3. So we have the Flux Context Pro and Max, and then we have Ideogram, and then we have just like a bunch of like upscalers. We even have OpenAI's GPT image model. That one's super viral. Flux, all of
Yeah,
the
that was
Force
the the
Labs.
the Studio Ghibli one. That was
Yeah,
super
this was
viral.
you
Yeah.
can use this for Studio Ghibli. You can even use Flux Context for Studio Ghibli at a much cheaper price
Yeah,
as well.
what do you see between the GPT image and Flux context? I think a lot of my friends who
Mm.
are interested in this space are very focused on those two models. Like, because I know the GPT one is decently more expensive, right?
Yeah, it is more expensive, and this GPT image model is what's known as an auto-regressive model. So it's different in how it's generating the image itself. So it's going to generate it from top down, whereas a diffusion model, which is what Flux Context is going to sort of create it all around. So it's different technically, like architecturally wise, but they're still both really good models. This one's a little bit more pricey, but you can do multi-image input. So you can see, for instance, I said add a floral pattern to the vase, and you can see like our different images are this vase and then this pattern, and then it just puts it on there right for you. And that itself is an app idea. You can just take this API and have people put 2 images, merge them together, and that's something that people would pay for. You can go back up to Flux Context. So these are the big image editing models that are going super, super viral. You can see a lot of people are starting to use these. The difference between these two is price and efficiency and like sort of output as well. So Pro is the chiller, more distilled version of Max. Max is going to cost you zero point 0.8, so 8 cents per output image, but you can get really great outputs like this style transfer. It preserves text, it adds text to images, and then Pro is going to cost you 4 cents per image, and it's still a great, great model. You can see that this is really good at style transfer. Make this into a 90s cartoon is the example right here. But people are creating amazing apps just from these 2 APIs, Flux Context Pro and Flux Context Max. Image editing, thumbnail creation for YouTube, real-time voice editing. There's just so much possibility here.
Yeah, I think it's starting to go more mainstream a little bit. Like Mr. Beast just released a tool that I'm pretty sure it's just using Flux context, but to all of his viewers, right, who might not be AI inclined, just see like, oh, this guy's selling magic. Like, I
Yeah,
don't have to generate thumbnails anymore. That's awesome.
yeah.
Um,
We
yeah,
might we might have a connection there on the down low, potentially.
I could have guessed that. I think that's really cool. I think just with AI images and AI video over the last, I would say 3 months, like since the OpenAI image model, we've seen just this rapid acceleration, like Google showing all their cards with, I think, their image models, and obviously their video models are really good. And we haven't even seen what Sora does now, which I never count out OpenAI. So who knows what that'll look like 3 months from now. So like, I'm just saying right now, if you can get some sort of marketing advantage and you are making content in some niche, I think there's never been a better time to kind of like dive in and try and create tools, because as the technology gets better, your tool will get better. So you should just focus on marketing and then just constantly be testing the APIs and plug those into your app. And like I think that is kind of the big recipe that I've seen work across social media, especially as a creator. I know a lot of creators who are working on tools like this, and I just think it doesn't need to be perfect. Just get started and kind of make improvements as AI gets better.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like all of the AIs there, like Replicate is an AI marketplace. You can just take one of these APIs, put it in your app, and then at that point, it's just the distribution and the marketing. Like if you have an advantage there, or if you're able to, storytell or, create great content, that will be the advantage in the next coming years for sure.
Oh yeah, totally. 100% agree. Yeah. And I think I'll link everything down below. Like I'll link a link to some other resources to learn Replicate. I'll also link just kind of a link to the playground and other tutorials that might be helpful. I really appreciate you coming on and talk today. I learned a lot. I took so many notes, and I'm actually going to try and recreate the voice app that you
Oh,
created. I
nice.
think that sounds really fun.
It is open source also, so if
Oh,
you
wow.
want to, I'll send you that link, put it in the description. If you guys who are out there, you wanna riff off of it, we love to see what people create.
Amazing. I will do that, actually.
Yeah.
That sounds really fun. All I need is like an OpenAI key and a replicate key probably,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Amazing. Great. I'm gonna do that.
Awesome. Nice.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Love being here.